Remember that time I asked you guys to ask me questions and I said I'd answer them in a future video? Well, today I'm going to answer them. You probably thought I forgot. What are 3 facts about me that people wouldn't know just by looking at me? I've never ridden a roller coaster. I don't know how to spell the word definitely. I just rely on spell check. And I used to eat boogers. I just wanted to include that because you said things that you wouldn't know just by looking at me, and I'd like to think that I ended up being a pretty normal adult despite the fact that I used to be a booger eater. A lot of you were super curious about my day job, so I've had a lemonade stand, a paper route, a failed card making business, and that was all before the age of 13. And then things really turned around for me when I was 10 and I started babysitting. So that is what I've considered my day job for the last 14 years, babysitting. Great job security, because as long as people keep popping out kids, I'm good. I also count the internet as my day job because I do make an income from blogging, YouTube, and I sell vintage online in my Etsy store called 1980 something. And of course, I'll leave a link to that down below. Why do you love the 80s? Have you seen the 80s? They're awesome. What's not to love? I think the big thing is that I grew up in the 90s, so we had a lot of leftovers from the 80s, and I watched a lot of television as a kid, and I very distinctly remember watching infomercials for 80s music, and that just kind of stuck with me. And then when I was 8 years old, I watched Goonies for the first time, and I just have been hooked ever since. If you could have an artist or band write and sing you a lullaby, who would it be? Love it or hate it, I'm gonna say Avril Lavigne. But, you know, I love the 80s, so I have a very questionable music taste. If you could go back to when you felt sick and you didn't know what it was, what would you tell yourself? Well, Jenny was referring to the non-life-threatening thing that I live with, functional nausea and functional dyspepsia, which is basically just a really dumb stomach thing that makes me feel sick all the time. I think that if I could go back and tell myself something, I would just yell at me to go to the doctor. Because why prolong not knowing what's wrong? Even though, 3 years later going to the doctor, I still don't really know what's wrong. But, at least I have a more clear idea. And then Jenny also asked, how are you feeling? I've had a lot of weird, unexpected nausea this week, despite following my rules. But I feel good right now, so that's good, right? How are you feeling? That could be to Jenny and also everyone else watching, because I care. That didn't sound like I care, but I really mean it. I care. What's a moment in your life that changed you for the better? I could think of a lot of things, but I think for the sake of time, I'm gonna say starting a blog in 2009. If you're thinking about blogging, just do it. Do it. That's the best thing I can say, because without my blog, like if I hadn't started it, I would have missed out on a lot of very good friendships, people I've come to rely on now. My life would suck without them, and I would not have started YouTube, and then your life would suck because you wouldn't get to watch me on YouTube. So going along with starting YouTube, Samantha asked me what were some of the things I did that got me to where I am now. Making videos? I don't know. I really don't know what the secret to YouTube is. I've had this conversation with a bunch of friends. None of us know. But I can tell you that it does not help to beg big YouTubers to be friends with you and to give you shout outs in their videos. Surprisingly, they don't really like that kind of thing. Who's had a huge influence on your life and why? I would say it was my youth pastor from high school. Without him, I wouldn't know God the way that I do now. And also, he introduced me to a bunch of really great 80s music, so that's good too. Laura asked me, as a person of average height, tell me your favorite perks of being a tall person. Well, considering I just found out that I'm only 5'6.6", I don't know if I'm really qualified to answer this question. But back when I thought I was tall, my favorite things were high fives, wearing maxi dresses that were the appropriate length, and making direct eye contact with giraffes at the zoo. Celebrity crush of any decade. I really like the celebrity crush I have now, who is Armie Hammer. And probably none of you know who that is, which is good because then there's more for me. How do you feel about everyone suddenly going vegan? Just, you do you. It's not for me, but good for them. Do you plan on moving soon, and how old is your sister? Well, I'm always down for moving, and my sister is celebrating her golden 27th birthday this month. And my other sister is 40 something? I don't know, ancient. Dream vacation destination? I'd highly recommend Costa Rica. Well, Canada, but I will keep Costa Rica in mind. Favorite Christian band? I've come to rely on Reliant K. Do you consider yourself a feminist? Well, if by feminist you mean equality for men and women, yes. If you define it as something else, then no. Favorite 80s movie? That's easy. It's Adventures in Babysitting. Why are you so pretty? Like a million times pretty. Good genes. I'm still just like in shock and awe that you guys actually had questions for me. Next time I decide to do a Q&A video, I'm gonna make sure I don't wait 3 weeks before answering your questions. That was really rude of me. I just had a bunch of thrift related videos I had to get out of my system, but I'm hoping in the future my content will be more balanced. Because the last thing I want to be is the girl that only makes one kind of video. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to answer all of your questions, but I guess that's just an excuse for me to make some bonus videos in the future, and in those I will answer your thrift and hair related questions because I don't want to leave you guys hanging. Once again, thank you guys so much. You guys rock. The only thing that would make you cooler in my book is if you gave this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Like, what are you waiting for? Christmas?